Good morning. Welcome back to the literature class once again. Before we begin, let us revise once again what we learned in the previous class. In the last class, we saw a group of spirits, mainly naiads as well as the sickle men, who started performing their dance in front of the couple. Naiads, as we already know, they are the spirits of the stream as well as the sickle man. Together they started dancing, and the dance performance was about to finish. That was the moment we saw a drastic change that has taken place in Prospero. He jumped from his place. He started shouting at. As a consequence, all the spirits vanished from there. That's what we came across in the last class. So let us begin today's class from the dialogue of Prospero. Prospero speaks aside. He says, I had forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minutes of their plot is almost come. After that, he speaks to the spirits. Well done, avoid no more. Prospero here says, he speaks to himself. He says, I had forgotten the foul conspiracy of Caliban, Tringulo, and Stefano against my life. He was totally thinking about that. He wanted to take a revenge against the conspirators. But as the dance performance was going on, he has totally forgotten about the conspirators. But by the end of the dance performance, immediately he remembers it is the minute, it is the time that the conspirators would be approaching in order to take away the life of Prospero. That made him to react in this manner. And he tells the spirits over there, it's almost over. And avoid over here means be gone. Your performance you have completed, and let there be no more performance, and you move away from there. And we see slowly the spirits vanish from there. Seeing all these changes in Prospero, Ferdinand says, Ferdinand, this is strange. Your father is in some passion that works him strongly. Yes, Ferdinand here says, this is strange. He has never seen Prospero reacting in this way, and therefore Ferdinand says, this is the strange behavior from the side of your father. Your father's in some passion. He is angry with some reason that works him strongly, and that has strongly worked on him. Some kind of feeling that is going on in his mind very, very strongly, and that is the reason your father speaks in this way. In response to that, Miranda says, never till this day saw I him touched with anger, so distempered. She too agrees with Ferdinand, and he says, never till this day, never before I have seen him so angry and violent. That is what Miranda here says. Throughout my life, I have never seen my father's reaction in this way. Prospero became aware of his reaction. He understood that Miranda as well as Ferdinand are tensed a bit. So therefore, let's see what Prospero speaks to them now. Prospero, you do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of the vision, the cloud-clapped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yeah, all which it inherits, shall dissolve. And like this unsubstantial pageant faded, leave not a track behind. We are such a stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. My brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell and there repose. a turn or two, I will walk to still my beating mind. Let's see what Prospero speaks here. Prospero says, "You do look, my son, in a moved sort as if you were dismayed." Dismayed over here means you are totally shocked, you are totally scared. He says to his son in law Ferdinand, "My son, you seem to be upset and look as if you are totally scared." He understood the reaction of Ferdinand very well. Ferdinand was highly scared. He was totally shocked as he saw the reaction of Prospero entirely in a different manner. So therefore he says, "My son, you seem to be upset and look as if you are totally shocked, as if you are totally scared. Be cheerful, sir. Nothing to worry about. Be cheerful. Be happy. Our revels now are ended. Our merrymaking came to an end. They were the spirits who came across over there. They performed their role and it came to an end. Be cheerful, therefore." That is what Prospero says to his son-in-law Ferdinand. Be cheerful, my son. The show came to an end. These are actors, as I foretold you, were spirit, as I have already told you. The actors, they came and did the mask over here. They were the spirits. Once again, he reaffirms, he states that they were the spirits. Once again, let us see what Prospero speaks. These are actors, as I foretold you. As I have told you before, they were the spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. So therefore, they have vanished into the air. They have melted totally into the air. The spirits have the capacity to vanish into the air. So since they were the spirit, Prospero says that once their role came to an end, they melted, they vanished into the air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, and he adds something more and says, just like the baseless fabric. Baseless over here means unreal fabric. Fabric means unreal stuff of this vision. It was not a real vision at all, because it was the play being done by the spirits. As like this unreal stuff of this vision, he says, the cloud-clapped towers, like the cloud-clapped towers, the great towers, the great skyscrapers, which touches even to the clouds, as well as, he says, the gorgeous palaces, the grand palaces that are made, and the solemn temple, the holy temples that are constructed, and the great globe itself, the entire world itself, he says, yeah, all which it inherits, and everything that the world has within, whether it is in the form of animals, whether in the form of human beings, everything that the world inherits, he says, shall dissolve. Everything will vanish one day or the other. He says, as these spirits have melted into the air, they have vanished into the air. In the same way, the great buildings that are made by the human beings, which touch us to the clouds, the gorgeous palaces that are constructed by the human beings, and ultimately he says that the temples as well as the world itself will vanish one day or the other, as like the spirits that have vanished into the air. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a track behind. He further says, as like this insubstantial means unreal pageant, this unreal show vanished, which did not give a trace at all. We don't have a mark at all, as if they were here a few minutes back. We are such a stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. And he further says, we here meant for we human beings, he says, we are such a stuff. We humans are made up of such a substance, exactly like that kind of substance what he speaks over here, the substance as like that of dreams. And when we die, it will be eternal sleep, and there will come to an end to it. Once again, let's see what he speaks over here. He says, we humans are made of some substance, almost like the same substance as dreams are made of, And when we die, there is nothing but the eternal sleep. No trace will be there as you and I, as the human beings, lived on this earth. Exactly, our existence is like that of him, that of the dream, which will have, once we reach into the eternal sleep, there will be no trace of our existence at all. After that, he speaks differently to Ferdinand. Let's see what he says. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. My brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. Let's see what he says. Sir, I am vexed. He says, I am completely troubled. I am annoyed. Prospero accepts that he is totally troubled. He is totally annoyed. That is what he says. I am vexed. I am totally annoyed, my son. Bear with my weakness and be patient with this weakness of mine. My brain is troubled. My mind is totally distracted. I am totally disturbed. Be not disturbed with my infirmity, but you not disturbed be not disturbed with my infirmity. My infirmity over here means by my weakness. Let not this weakness of mine bother you. He says that you don't be bothered about this weakness of mine, because my mind is totally troubled. And further he says, be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell. He says, if you wish, if you are pleased over here means if you wish to retire into my cell, please go to my dwelling place, go to my room and there repose, and you take rest over there in my cell. A turn or two I will walk to still my beating mind. And he says that I will walk a round or two. I will be just walking 1 or 2 rounds in order to soothe my disturbed mind. As my mind is totally troubled, I have to make my mind calm, and therefore I will be making 1 or 2 rounds, and after that I will be back to my cell. Now you together with Miranda go to my cell and take a rest over there. I will make 1 or 2 rounds in order to soothe my troubled mind, and I will be back to the cell after that with an untroubled mind. As Prospero asked both Ferdinand and Miranda to go to his cell to have the rest, let's see, and he told that he will be making 1 or 2 rounds so that his troubled mind may be soothed back once again. In response to that, both Ferdinand and Miranda speak together. Let's see what they say. We wish your peace. Let your mind be peaceful soon. Both of them wished a kind of a peaceful mind to Prospero. And Prospero says, and after that, both Ferdinand and Miranda moved to the cell to the dwelling place of Prospero. As they left the place, Prospero plans out something. Now let's see what he does here. Prospero, come with a thought. I thank thee, Ariel, come. Come with a thought over here means come as quickly as the thought comes to the mind. He says, come to this place instantly, my loving spirit, Ariel. Come and I thank thee. I am very grateful to you, my spirit, Ariel, because you do everything that I command you to do. Once again, let's see what Prospero says as both Ferdinand as well as Miranda left the place. He says, come with a thought. Come instantly. That's the meaning of come with a thought. As like a thought that comes to the mind of an individual, so fastly come to this place, my dear Ariel. I thank you, Ariel, and come to this place. Re-enter Ariel. The moment Prospero wished to have the presence of Ariel, instantly and exactly at the same moment, Ariel reaches here. So let's see what Ariel says. Thy thought I clave to. I clave to over here means I follow very, very closely. I understand and follow your thoughts. Every thought of yours I follow instantly. Ariel says, what is thy pleasure? What is your wish? What should I do for you? What is my work for you? That is what Ariel asked to Prospero. Then Prospero says, Spirit, we must prepare to meet with the Caliban. Yes, we have to meet Caliban soon. Remember, he was enjoying the dance, and immediately the thought came to his mind that it's the minute they have planned to take away the life of Prospero. And the same thing now he speaks to Ariel, his honest spirit. He says to Ariel, we must prepare to meet with Caliban. We have to meet Caliban soon. Ariel responds, yeah, my commander. When I presented Ciaris, I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee. So Ariel says, yeah, my commander. My commander over here means my master. Yes, my master, Ariel says, when I presented Ciaris, the moment I introduced Ciaris, I thought to have told thee of it. I wanted to tell you about it. I wanted to tell you about that we have to challenge Caliban. The moment I introduced Ciaris to you, the same moment this thought came to my mind, but I feared, but I was scared, because it was a happy occasion. We were going to entertain Ferdinand and Miranda, and if that moment I bring out the name of Caliban, sometimes you may be agitated, sometimes you may be angry with me, and therefore I was totally scared. Therefore I did not remind you of it. Ariel says, lest I might anger thee, that it might annoy you. I felt that if I bring out the name, if I take out the name of Caliban, sometimes that may annoy you, that may disturb you, and because of this scary feeling, though this thought came to my mind, I did not tell it at all. That is what Ariel speaks to Prospero. Then Prospero again. Let's see what is Prospero's response to Ariel's dialogue. Prospero says, say again, where didst thou leave these varlets? Varlets means rogue, the rascals. So he asks, Prospero asks Ariel once again. Say again, he says, where didst thou leave these rascals? Where have you left those rascals? These rascals over here means the three rascals that are mentioned here by Prospero are Caliban himself, together with Stefano and Trinculo, the conspirators. That is what he asked. Once again, let's see how he asked it. He says, say again, where didst thou leave these varlets? Ariel says, I told you, sir, they were red hot with drinking, so full of valor that they smote the air for breathing in their faces, bet the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending towards their project. Then I bet my tabor, at which, like unbaked clouds, they pricked their ears, advanced their eyelids, lifted up their noses, as they smelt music. So I charmed their ears, that calf like they my lowing followed, though toothed briars, sharp furses, prickling gauze and thorns, which ended their frail shins. At last I left them, I, the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell. They are dancing up to the chin. Let's see what Ariel says. I told you, my sir, I have already told you, my master, they were red hot with drinking. Red hot over here means they were totally flushed. Their eyes were extremely reddish in color because of the influence of the alcohol that they have, the wine that they have already consumed. The same thing Ariel speaks here. I told you, my master, they were red hot with drinking. Their eyes were extremely reddish in color because of the excessive alcohols that they have consumed. So full of valor, and they became so brave. We know different people react differently once they consume the alcohol. Once they are drunk, there are a group of people who used to laugh with no reason when they are totally alcoholic. There are a group of people who go on talking and talking, non-stop talking. In this way, different way, people react differently, and there are a group of people who shed the tears once they are drunk. So different people react differently, and the same way we find a different reaction over here among all the three conspirators. Let's see what he speaks over here. So full of valor that they smote. Smote over there means, smote, the word meaning is given. Smote the air means they started striking the air. They started beating the air. You know that there will be no influence at all if someone beats the air. And let's see what the reason that they have started beating the air. Let's see once again what happens here. so full of valor that they smote the air for breathing in their face. As the air come in front of their face, in front of their mouth, and they were intolerant towards it. The reason for beating or smoting the air is that the air started touching their face, which they could not tolerate at all. Let's see, they became so brave that they aimed at their blows into the air. As they breathed the air which they breathed, they started beating with the sword because it came and touched their face. All these are the foolishness, as I have already told you. The alcoholic influence in them reacted differently. The people turned to be extremely courageous and they took out their sword and they started beating the air as the air touched their face. That was one of the reactions among these three. And after that, they bet the ground for kissing of their feet. And they started stamping the ground. They stamped the ground for kissing of their feet. What was the reason? Reason that they started stamping the ground? It was because for daring to kiss their feet. Their feet was touched. The earth was having the courage, the daring spirit to touch their feet. And that was the reason for them to attack the soil even, attack the earth even. Yet always binding towards their project, but their mind was preoccupied, determined with their purpose. What is their purpose? To take the life of Prospero away. Though they reacted in this way, they were totally reddish. Their face as well as their eyes were reddish. They started taking out their sword and they started attacking the air as well as they stamped the earth for being touched with their feet. But their mind was fully preoccupied with their project, that is put an end to the life of Prospero. The same thing Ariel speaks here. They were determined to kill you, dear master. Then I bet my tabor, and that was the time I bet my tabor, my musical instrument. I played my musical instrument at which, like unbaked clothes. Unbaked clothes over here means untrained horses. As like the untrained horses, they pricked their ears. They listened very attentively. We know the power of music. The power of music is different. Even the animals react to the music in different manner. The untrained horse, when they started jumping around, and the moment they hear the sweet music, they turn to be stand still. That is what happened over here. The moment they heard the music being played by Ariel himself says, the moment I played the tabor, as like the change that take place in the untrained calls, they used to jump around. And they turned to be like the unbaked cloth. They pricked their ears. They pricked their ears means they started listening very, very attentively and very carefully and advanced their eyelids. They started advancing, lifting their eyelids. They started lifting their eyelids. They lifted their eyelids and they lifted up their nose and they raised their noses as well as they smelt the music. The moment they heard the music, a great change that has taken within them. As like the untrained horse bring out the changes in the moment they hear the music. As they lift their eyes, as they turn their noses, in the same way they started listening the music very, very attentively. So I charmed their ears. I charmed their ears over here means I cast a smell on their ears, that calf like they my lowing followed. The entire meaning is explained in number 165-66. From so I charmed their ears, that calf like they my lowing followed. The entire meaning, let's see. So I put a smell on their ears so that they followed my sound like the calves. Their nature was wild, and that wild nature has totally changed into be a smooth nature like that of the nature of the calves. They my lowing followed through toothed briars. Toothed means thorny bushes. So he says that they followed my path. They started following my music. I played the tabor and they started following my music as like a master is being followed by the calves through toothed briars. Toothed briars is it's a kind of a bushes which has got thorns in it. Sharp furses, through the sharp furses. Sharp versus also thorny bushes, and pricking ghosts. They are also another kind of bush which has the thorns within them. And thorns, they started walking. They were quite unaware that they are walking through the thorns. They did not realize that they were moving through, or they were walking through the thorns, because they were so much influenced by the music I played. Ariel says. Once again, let's see. They started following me through the paths which were filled totally with the thorns. That is what, once again, let us go through the original terms that is used by the writer here. Through toothed berries, sharp verses, pricking gauze and thorns, which entered their frail shins, which entered the thorns that pierced their frail shins, their smooth as well as the soft legs, their legs which were weak, and the thorns started entering into it. At last I left them, the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell. I led them through these thorny paths for a long distance, and I directed them towards, once again let's see that, at last I left them, the filthy mantled pool. I left them towards the dirt covered pool. The meaning of the term here, filthy mantled, the dirt covered pool beyond your cell, which was just in front of your cell. There was a dirty pool which was beyond your cell. I led them through the thorny paths, and I placed them over there. They were quite unaware that they are walking through the thorns. They were unaware that they are entering into the dirty pool, because they were totally influenced by the charming music that Ariel has played. The filthy mantled pool beyond your cell, they are dancing up to the chins. The meaning is explained there. They are dancing up to the chin. In number 170, they were in the dirt covered pool with the dirty water up to their chins. The dirty water was up to their chins, up to their ears, or up to their chin, and they were about to drown over there in the water and dancing over there. Please remember, they were under the influence of alcohol, and they wanted, the moment they reached into the dirty pool, they got the realization that they are inside the pool, and they started moving from there. It resembled as if they were dancing. Once again, let's see the last part. At last I left them, the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell. At last, after directing them through the thorny paths for a long distance, there the thorns pierced into their soft legs. I directed them towards the dirty pool which is beyond your cell, and they started dancing. That is, they are dancing up to the chins. Once again, the meaning is, they were in the dirt covered pool with the dirty water up to their chins. Almost the entire body was covered with the dirty water. Only the head was above the water. Let's see what the reaction of Prospero is. Certainly, Prospero must be quite happy about what Ariel has done. Let's see what Prospero says. This was well done, my bird. My bird over here means my spirit. You have played as always you play your role very well. Here also you have played your role very well. This was well done, my bird. Thy shapes invisible, retain thou still, and be in the same invisible state. Ariel, you know that almost always Ariel is invisible, and Prospero here says, Ariel, remain invisible. Once again, let's see what he says. Thy shape invisible, retain thou still, remain in the same invisible state. The forgery in my house, go bring it hither. The word is temporary. Temporary over here means the garment. He had lot of shining garments over there, and he now says, Ariel, the temporary in my house, go bring it here. Bring my garments from the home to this place for stale to catch these thieves, because I wanted to use these garments as a bait in order to catch these thieves. I wanted to use this as the lure. The meaning of the word stale over here means the lure, bait, maybe a form of a trick. I will be able to trap these people with the help of these garments. Once again, let's see. Prospero was very happy with what Ariel did, and therefore he says, "This was well done, my bird. You have done your role very well." And after that, he commands Ariel once again, "Remain in the same invisible state and go to my house and bring the garments from the home, because these garments, I have to use as a bait to catch these thieves." We do not know what the plan of Prospero at the present moment is. He is planning something, and therefore he says, "Ariel, go to my cell, go to my dwelling place, and from there you bring the garments, because these are the garments that I am going to use in the form of a bait in order to trap, in order to catch these three thieves." Ariel responds Prospero immediately, and he says, I go, yes, I'll go and bring it immediately. All the commands that is given by Prospero, instantly and very, very meticulously it is followed by Ariel, and he does the same here too. Then Prospero, after Ariel moved from the stage, now Prospero is all alone. Let's see what Prospero speaks. It's a soliloquy. Prospero all alone on the stage. Prospero says, "A devil, a born devil, on whose nature can never stick, on whom my pains humanly taken, all lost, quite lost. And as with the age his body uglier grows, so his mind conquers. I will plague them all, even to roaring." Let's see what he speaks here. A devil, a born devil. He says that my servant Caliban is a devil. He is a born devil. On whose nature nature can never stay. Please see, 2 times the word nature is used. First place we see nature in small letter, and another one nurture. Once again, let's see, on whose nature can never stay. Nurture over here means education. On such creatures like Caliban, he says, education makes no impact at all. Once again, let's see what he speaks here. A devil, a born devil, on whose nature nurture can never stay. The meaning of the word nurture over here means education, good manners. He says that on such born devils like Caliban, he says education or good manners make no impact at all. On whom my pains humanly taken, all lost, quite lost. He says that all my trouble with my noble motives, all the pains that I have taken in order to bring a Caliban to the right path, through the proper path, to make him to be a trained creature. He says that all the pains that I have taken on his behalf have been wasted. It is meaningless. I have taken lot of trouble from the beginning to bring Caliban into the right path, but all my effort, he stresses the word here, all lost. All the pains that I have taken to make him as a good creature, everything is meaningless. That is what Prospero laments here. And he laments. And as with the age his body uglier grows, so his mind conquers. He says that as his body becomes more ugly with the age, as his age increases, his body, he is a monster, you already know, his body becomes uglier and uglier, so his mind conquers over here means in the same way his mind grows more foul. As his body is becoming uglier as the passing of the age, in the same way his mind grows more and more poisonous. That is what the meaning of the term here, conquers means it becomes very, very poisonous and foul. I will plague them all. He makes the resolution, and he says, Prospero here says, I will plague them all. Certainly I will torment them all. I will pain all of them. I will plague them all, even to roaring. I will torment them till they roar out of pain. Till the time they roar loudly due to the pain, I am going to torment them. I am going to hurt them. This is what Prospero was speaking all alone. By that time, Ariel returns back. Ariel was given the command by Prospero to go and bring the garments from my cell. He obeyed it immediately. He moved and he returned back instantly. Let's see, re-enter Ariel, laden with glittering apparel, etc. So he brings a lot of shining garments and he comes back. So seeing Ariel, Prospero says, come, hang them on this line. So he says, come my spirit Ariel, and he says, hang them, hang the clothes that you have brought, hang all these clothes on this line. The word line has got two meanings over here. One can be the lime tree, which grows in front of Prospero's cell, and the another one is a clothesline, the string which is tied for drying the clothes. So both the ways the meaning can be taken. Two meanings the word line has. One can be the string that is tied for the clothes being dried, that can be the clothesline, or it can be the lime tree. Let's see. He says, come, hang them on this line. Prospero and Ariel remain invisible. Enter Caliban, Stefano and Tringulo all wait. Now we see even Prospero is invisible. Ariel was already invisible to them. Now Prospero also turned to be invisible. You know, Prospero is a magician. He has the power to make himself invisible, and he turned invisible here exactly like that of Ariel, his airy spirit. Prospero and Ariel remain invisible. Enter Caliban, Stefano and Tringulo all wet. All of them are totally wet because they come from the dirty pool towards which Ariel had already directed them, and they were almost covered with water up to their chin, and they are just coming out of this dirty pool, and therefore their body is totally wet. Once again, let's see. Prospero and Ariel remain invisible. We see the entry of Caliban, Stefano and Tringulo, all the three conspirators who are totally wet. Caliban here says, pray you, tread softly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. We now are near his cells. He gives a warning to the other two conspirators, that is Stefano and Tringulo. He says, pray you, I request you, tread softly, walk very softly and very gently, very quietly now, that the blind mole is a kind of small animal. So here he addresses Prospero as the mole, that also blind mole. The reason he calls him as a blind mole, because he feels Prospero is asleep now. Therefore, he is unable to see anything at all. So, therefore, he addresses Prospero as the blind mole. Once again, let me repeat it. He says, once again, let's see. I pray you, tread softly. I request you to walk softly and very quietly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall, that the blind mole may not hear even our footsteps. We have to walk so quietly that no sound will be produced while we walk. So the blind mole, that is blind mole, is addressed here for Prospero. I repeat, blind mole is addressed for Prospero because he feels Prospero is sleeping at the present moment. So therefore he says, so that the blind mole may not hear even our footsteps. We now are near his cells because we have approached very close to his self and cell, his dwelling place. Therefore, we have to walk very, very quietly. That is a warning Caliban gives to Stefano and Tringulo. They are approaching the house of the dwelling place of Prospero for the first time, both Stefano and Tringulo. So, therefore, he says, we have almost reached in front of the cell of Prospero. So, therefore, we have to walk so quietly that even he may not hear our footsteps. Stefano says, monster, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than played the jack with us. Do you hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you. So Stefano remembers about what Caliban has described him about the airy spirit Ariel. So let's see once again what Stefano says. Monster, your fairy is addressed here as your fairy spirit Ariel, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than played the jack with us. You told that the fairy is harmless, but he has played the role of a real villain with us. So already Caliban has told the airy spirit Ariel is very gentle and always harmless. But let's see what happened. Ariel is the one who played the music, directed them through the thorny paths, and ultimately reached them into the dirty pool. And therefore, Stefano says, you have told the fairy is a harmless one, but he has played the role of a villain. That is what? Played the jack with us. Played the jack with us over here means he really played the role of a villain. He is not harmless at all. He is not gentle at all. That is what Stefano speaks here. Do you remember, monster? Don't you remember, monster? You have told that the fairy is harmless. Don't you remember that? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you, beware. Look you over here means beware. I may take a displeasure against you for speaking such kind of lies. Now Stefano feels what Caliban told was a big lie, because Caliban told that Ariel is harmless. But in reality, it was not harmless with them at all. It directed them for a long distance to the thorny path and led them towards the dirty pool, from where somehow they got escaped. So therefore, he says that for speaking such kind of wrong words, such kind of lies, I may take a displeasure against you. Beware of it. That is the threat, that is the warning Stefano says to Caliban. Then Tringulo agrees with it, and Tringulo says, thou wert but a lost monster if he takes displeasure against you, if he challenges you. Tringulo says that in that case, thou were but a lost monster. You will be totally ruined monster in that case. Totally disfigured monster you will be if Stefano challenges you in that regard, since you have lied him. Then Caliban, good my lord, give me thy favor still. Be patient. For the price I will bring thee, too shall hoodwink these mistancers. Therefore, speak softly. All is hushed as midnight yet. Caliban says, good my lord, my Stefano, my master, my good master, give me thy favor still. Be in good terms with me. Be favorable with me. He says that be in good terms with me again. As Stefano has told that I may challenge you if I take the displeasure against you for speaking such kind of lies. Beware. That is what Stefano warned him. In response to that, Caliban says, good my lord, give me thy favor still. Be in good terms with me once again. Be patient. Don't be irritated. Be patient. For the price I will bring thee, for the reward you are going to get because of my effort. The reward that you are going to get, he says, for the price I will bring thee, too shall hoodwink these mistancers. Hoodwink means it will compensate all the troubles that you were undergoing. He says that for what you are going to gain, what you are going to win will compensate for all the troubles that you have taken. He says, certainly we have faced a lot of trouble, but the reward that you are going to get will compensate all the troubles. He says, shall hoodwink. Hoodwink over here means shall compensate this mischance, all these troubles that you underwent. Therefore, speak softly. So therefore, be calm. Once again, he asks his master. He has already accepted Stefano as his master. And therefore, he says that be in good terms with me. Be favorable with me. Certainly, you have taken a lot of trouble, but the reward you are going to win over will compensate all the troubles that you underwent, and therefore speak softly. Be patient, be silent. And he further says, all is hushed as midnight yet. Everything is silent now. The situation, the surrounding, everything is so silent now as like that of the midnight. Tringulo says, yeah, but to lose our bottles in the pool. He is worried about not the reward that they are going to get, but he is worried about the bottles that they have lost in the pool. He says, yeah, certainly yes, but the loss of our bottles in the pool. But we have lost our bottles in the pool. We had the bottles with us, and the bottles are lost over there in the pool. He is totally worried, not about the reward that they are going to get, but the bottles that he has lost. Tringulo is totally concerned and worried about. And Stefano too agrees to it, and he says, there is not only disgrace and dishonor in that, There is not only disgrace and dishonor in that dear monster, but an infinite loss. But also, it's a great loss. It is an infinite loss. He says that this loss cannot be compensated at all. Losing the bottle cannot be compensated at all. So let us stop here for the day, dear students. Let me remind you, please do go through whatever we have already learned, and I remind you to write the paraphrase in your copies, as well as please do learn the word meanings that is given in the right hand side of your textbook. So wish you all, and let us meet in the next class.